From a working Lego marble race to a Lego car powered only by solar power, these are the craziest Lego experiments. And let's start with this awesome marble race. I remember the good old days, being a kid and rolling marbles around long before everyone had smartphones and TikTok. Ah, the good old days. Anyway, someone was actually smart enough to recreate this awesome experiment in physics. During the 2022 BrickedUp convention in Seattle, we got to see this amazing marble race that goes on forever. This is not only an amazing experiment, but is also incredibly satisfying to watch. And this is just one of many crazy Lego experiments in this video. And the last experiment is completely insane. But first, we have to talk about this amazing Lego experiment. From the official Lego YouTube channel, we got to see the ridiculous team go head to head to see who could build the best Lego tower. But there was a twist. You see, not only did this tower have to look awesome, but it also had to be able to withstand an earthquake. This was all filmed in San Francisco, which is an international hotspot for earthquakes. And when they finally built their towers, they did not do very well. Once again, this is not only an awesome experiment, but is also quite satisfying to watch the tower get violently shaken back and forth. And I would say Lego is one of the only hobbies that can somehow be both a science experiment and super satisfying. As our next build is just as satisfying as the earthquake simulator. This is a working Lego clock. Long before the age of digital clocks, people used to have to use a machine that moved forever to tell the time. These were called pendulum clocks, and nowadays they have largely been forgotten about. However, a YouTube channel by the name of Spinning Lego did go on to create this amazing Lego clock that works. It tells the time and also has a nice satisfying pendulum swinging noise to accompany it. Ooh, that gave me chills. But so far, all of these are quite complicated to make. So what about an experiment that you guys can try yourself? Nowadays, I feel like no one talks about bottle rockets. Bottle rockets were again a super common thing when I was just a young minifigure. By using a mixture of water and compressed gas, you can create a small explosion. This explosion causes the lid of the bottle to shoot off, and all the water inside to be launched out of the bottle, propelling it forwards. This is something that some genius fans online have been able to transform into Lego, with this particular water bottle rocket being used to propel a Lego car. Have a look at this. Not only does this look really cool, but the sound it makes is also awesome. However, I can admit that sometimes things that make loud bangs kind of scare me. Thankfully though, there are just as many experiments out there that make little to no sound, such as this Lego water filtration system. Most people out there don't realize that water needs to be filtered before you drink it. Some people just assume there is drinking water and there is wastewater. This is not the case, and water filtration is actually a bit of a difficult process. However, that has not stopped it from being transformed into Lego. Thanks to the geniuses over at Brick Science, we got this entire water filtration system from start to beginning. The dirty water first has all of the chunks of dirt and mud pulled out of it. Then the water goes through a second filter to remove all of the smaller pieces of dirt and rocks. And then finally it goes through the third and last filter to make a much cleaner water. This does take a couple of goes, however, but when the process is completed, you have a clean glass of water, in theory. So many chemicals are involved in water filtering that making it entirely from Lego can be really difficult, but it was a great attempt from Brick Science. Water filtration can be a very complicated and nerdy process. However, this next Lego experiment involving water is way easier. This is a water wheel, an old way of doing multiple things like generating power as well as turning things to help make wheat and bread. It is definitely an old-fashioned manufacturing technique, but thanks to Lego we can relive the old times and experience a water wheel for real with Lego. Now this may seem like it would be an extremely complicated thing to build, and well, it kind of can be. What this build is a very basic water wheel, but nonetheless, it is really cool to watch it spin as it gets hit with the water and then hitting the anvil as it does. However, the water wheel was a bit too old-fashioned that humans had to design something more efficient, and this is actually a good time to mention our next experiment. When water was not working enough, humans had to design something that was better at powering things than water. So they decided to experiment using wind power as opposed to water power. This eventually went on to be the catalyst for the windmill. The windmill was created to once again help with milling things like wheat and sheep wool, and eventually it started being used to power things. That is when we began seeing wind turbines popping up all across the world, and these wind turbines are still used quite commonly around the world even to this day. And some fans have taken this even further to create the world's largest wind turbine, and this thing is huge. It is one of the biggest Lego builds in the world. It just unfortunately unfortunately does not work. But you know what? It looks cool. And sometimes that is all you need to have an awesome Lego experiment. It needs to look cool. And nothing is cooler than zip lines. Zip lines used to be everywhere in public parks, theme parks, water parks, and well, other parks I guess. And some Lego fans took these zip lines one step further to make some truly awesome looking zip lines that you can hang different builds from. This was actually also included in another episode of BrickedUp when they created a zip line and sent various Lego creations down it. These look so cool. I cannot believe just how many amazing experiments BrickedUp did, whether that be a zip line, an earthquake simulator, or our next Lego experiment. And this one is very fun. But first, have you ever wanted to build a Lego bridge? I used to spend hours sitting in my bedroom building various bridges from my desk to my dresser, but I never realized that I can make an entire experiment from it. This is the bridge strength test, and basically what you need to do is build a bridge, make it as structurally sound as possible, and then stack loads of heavy stuff on top. This is also a super fun challenge you can play with your friends to see who can build the best Lego bridge. And once again, this was done by the team over at BrickedUp who just seemed to come up with so many amazing experiments. With this next one, I have only ever seen done once, mainly because it's pretty complicated. I like to say I'm a Lego nerd, but that would be a lie since I have never been able to understand how Lego Technic works. Now thankfully I never had to, as there's other people out there who are way more talented than I am, such as Bricksmaster Builders who created this fully working Technic speed gearbox transmission. I don't even know what half the words in that name means, let alone how it worked. However, one thing is for certain, that this is a very cool experiment. However, there are even more Lego Technic experiments out there, such as this working Lego Technic conveyor belt that can be attached to a motor and everything, as well as this Lego Technic buggy with working suspension. For those of you who do not know, suspension is something that cars have to make bumps and ridges in the road a lot less noticeable. They basically make the road feel flatter than it actually is, and this is why Lego Technic is so popular nowadays, because it's so realistic. But there is one experiment I have found that is nowhere near realistic. But first, I found this awesome looking Lego magnet maze that is really interesting. And this is such a simple design that you can make this yourself at home. By simply using a base plate, some bricks, and a magnet, you can create your very own magnet maze. What you want to do is build yourself a maze or a racetrack on a base plate, and then lift up a base plate and place a magnet underneath. Then you want to attach another magnet to the bottom of a car or Lego brick you want to navigate the maze. Then you have your very own Lego magnet maze. Pretty cool, right? And you know what else is cool? Balloons. Okay, I know that is a weird thing to say, but hear me out. Have you ever inhaled helium and then
spoken and sounded all funny like?
This is actually the result of a science experiment going on inside your body. Let me explain. Whenever you speak, your voice box is vibrating as air comes out of your mouth. Helium is similar to the air you breathe in that you cannot see. However, it has one catch. Helium is lighter than air. Because helium is lighter than air, you have this weird noise coming out of your mouth. But there is another reason this is cool, because helium is lighter than air that you can put into a balloon and have it float without ever touching the ground. Some Lego fans took this one step further and created actual hot air balloons using helium that will float into the air for as long as they have helium in them. Just make sure to not let go, as your Lego build will be gone forever. And this is also what can happen with this next Lego experiment. A working catapult. Have you ever been bored in class and thought about firing an object at one of your friends? Well, with this Lego catapult, you can actually do that. By using various Lego pieces, including rods and 2x1 bricks with holes in them, you can actually create a fully working catapult. And if you want to know how to do this, search it up on YouTube. This is my favorite way to annoy my friends in school, but it can also be super fun to mess with your teachers. Don't let them know I told you that though. But if you want to really mess with your teacher, you should make this next Lego experiment. Who here understands what a pulley is? Oh, good. No one else? Well, to be honest, neither do I. But this is also what makes it a super easy way to troll your science teachers, as you can create this system entirely out of Lego bricks. So let me explain to you what you're actually looking at. This is a pulley system, and in basic terms, it allows you to lift up something heavy as if it weighed nothing. By using tension and taking most of the work away from you, you can lift super heavy things with little to no strength required. This makes you look extremely strong, and something that might make you even stronger is subscribing and clicking this video right here.